feeling like I'm Akademiks. Can't ride no wave.
You could address either one first.
Well, aliens, like, honestly, it feels like this was like when my dad was still president. I had him on, like, my podcast quickly just to be like, hey, what do you think? And he sort of just, I was like, it was the only question I actually wanted. Like, I don't care who shot Kennedy. I'm like, aliens. Like, what's going on? And he kind of blew me off. And I'm like, wait. But now, like, that's how fucked up the world is right now, right? Like, there's like, here's video of UFOs, and no one cares because the world is actually more chaotic. That as we're literally seeing, like, actual real-world evidence of these things, and they're basically, like, the Pentagon's basically admitting that it's real, and all, and like, no one cares because it's like, Like,
has your dad seen an alien, like Area 51
that
type thing?
I don't think so. At least he has not told me. If it was classified, and he didn't tell me. But there wasn't even like a week.
Yeah, like, son, I've seen him. It had 15 eyes.
Yeah, I'll bring it back up. You know what I mean? If I see him somewhere between one of these court cases, I'll bring it back up, and I'll let you know if there's more of a hint. But like, it feels like they're actually releasing real evidence of this stuff, and like everyone's like, just Tuesday.
I'm always only skeptical because aliens seem to consistently pop up in Vegas. Like, well, what's up with that? Like, are they gambling or what? Are they rigging the odds? Like, what's going on? You get what I'm saying?
Never know.
Nevada, they're seeing the most amount of aliens. I knew the one alien store was bullshit in Miami. I'm like, the aliens are not going to South Beach, okay? No. The aliens go to the
well, but I think they also find them in the random areas because you don't have all the light pollution, so you're able to see these phenomenon in space that you just don't get. Like in New York City, you don't see the stars ever because everything else is so bright. Like the shit in the air catches it. So it's always these, once you get outside of Vegas, it's nothing for hours, you know what I mean? That you can find these places. So, that sort of makes sense just from a, visual perspective. But like, listen, I am not, I believe like 100% there has to be something. Like you can't have, like we're the one like unique phenomenon in something that's infinitely large, the size of the universe. Like I'm like that can't be. I don't know if that's a sentient being or an amoeba. There's probably a lot of all of it, but there's got to be something.
I remember watching Independence Day, and I always remembered like Will Smith like dragging that alien back, and I'm like, there has to be like an alien carcass somewhere, like in a lab that we're studying their how they deliver.
Because they all look the same in the movies, right? Why is that the choice? Why doesn't it look totally different? And they all kind of always look the same.
Maybe the person who really saw the alien, he gave the structure.
This is the design,
Reparations. That's a conversation that's been ongoing. I feel like it comes up here and there, and people always wait for some type of, hey, listen, if people are getting either paychecks or what's supposedly due to them, what about African Americans and reparations?
Yeah, listen, I'm not generally, I think it's, you see the stuff going on in California, and it's like, well, if we took 10x the California budget, I'm like, what? Like, I look at, me, do I pay into this? Like, my grandparents came here in 1906. We were never...
I think the idea is that African Americans built the country, so anybody who even are even a byproduct or a recipient of anything good should pay into the people who are the ancestors that helped build the foundation, and those direct descendants of those ancestors somehow, which obviously wouldn't be me, by the way.
I get the concept. I'm sort of... I'm not long these concepts because I think they're too complicated. I think they get taken too advantage of. I think, when you see some of the numbers that are being thrown around, it's like mind-blowing.
Like Bernie had said, he had mentioned that too. Like he was like,
California, they're like, it's like $30 trillion and we can be fine. I'm like, wait a minute, what are you talking? Like that's so I don't know. I think it's one of these things. Obviously, a disgusting and terrible time in our country. But I just. I don't know how you do that reasonably, logically, equitably.
If there was a way, say some little genius came up with a way, hey, listen, we're not giving no more money to Ukraine. They're cut off. We're not giving this. And then this excess money, we're going to give some to schools, some to this, and let's give this amount.
Well, that's different.
Let's earmark it in some bill. Like, isn't that what they do?
But I think you're
politics?
starting to do that with schools, or, again, funding historically black universities. You're not necessarily funding historically white universities, right? There is some difference. There is play there. I think you've seen, certainly this will get you in trouble or me in trouble, but you see some of that with affirmative action or something like right there. There has been stuff in there. No, people are going to say that's not enough, and people are going to say it's terrible that you say that. But I think as a country we're trying to trying to get through that. I think, as someone who's been out there a lot, all over the place, like, I don't and have not seen sort of the rampant racism that, I'm not saying it doesn't exist, right? But it does not seem like it's what it's made out to be. And I think there's probably, racism in cultures across, you see, I see a lot of gay guys hate the trans people. And I kind of want to get to a point where everyone stops hating each other.
Yeah.
And, taking from one to give to another now and understanding, again, the history. Like, I don't know that solves any of these problems going forward.
Yeah. I think it's definitely a multi-pronged and multivariate situation.
And that's, again, I'm trying to be as honest as I can without getting, but it's not an easy one.
Yeah. I think that's a pretty decent answer. All right, chat. I think we have covered everything as much as we can. I appreciate all you guys. This has been an amazing stream. I first and foremost, I just want to thank Don Jr. for being such a gratuitous host.
Glad you could do it.
Gave us a tour yesterday. You made all available time for us as much as we needed. Made sure I had anything I needed. You've been more than gracious to me, so I just want to thank you.
My pleasure.
And thank you for sitting with me. Thank you for being as honest as you can. There was no script. I'll be very honest, and for anyone who might ask, because I know there's going to be questions, I did not submit the talking points that I wanted to ask from. I wrote in bed this morning in my notepad.
And by the way,
on my phone.
Did I say that there was anything off limits?
No, there was no prompts.
No prompts.
There was no, don't talk about this. Hey, make sure you ask. None of that. It was honestly just a conversation. And shoot, I got every question I had to ask off here, and I'm glad I got to answer or ask the questions you guys wanted to ask. I do know you have a Rumble show, and I do want to give you the platform and the chance to promote that. There's a part of my audience who's on here, and I know there's a lot of people who love you that are watching for you. Mm-hmm. So how could they find you on Rumble?
Yeah, I'm on Rumble. My podcast is called Triggered. I'm on Mondays and Thursdays. Chris and I talk about doing a little bit more of that, especially as sort of the world gets crazier. It's just, honestly, there's so much to talk about. And, some days it's guests, some days it's politics, some days I'll do, sort of what you're doing, just like ask me anything, and I'll sit there talk for 2 hours.
You shoot from here? Or
I have a studio above our garage.
Really?
So, although, honestly, I like your backpack setup, because if I could sit out here and have a cigar, I could do so much more. When you're in the studio, you're
you almost feel like
especially for the Ask Me Anything, just sit there and talk and have a cigar and whatever it is, that's just great. But hey, man, I'm glad you liked it. We'll have to do it again.
No, of course.
I'll have to get you on with the big guy one day. I know there were definitely some people that were like, "Oh, it's just Junior. That's bullshit."
No, all three of us should do something.
We can do that. It could be fun.
Listen, what I'm happy about is that I get to at least open up a lot of communication.
Listen, I think it's important, because I think there's been so much, a lot of misinformation, a lot, just out there. So anything you didn't do to kind of just be an honest broker and all that, I think is really important.
Yeah, definitely. All right, people. Thank you guys. Chris, am I good? Did I read any ads? Chris over here, he's just like thumbing through the chat. Now I'm playing.
Yeah.
Listen, thank you guys. I will be back on stream. I know a lot of you guys are like, okay, great. Now we got our politics fixed for the month. Let's get back to the rap beef. Let's get back to the rap and music stuff. We're going to get back to it. Actually, expect to stream tonight. If you guys are watching on Rumble and you haven't hit the subscription button, please hit the follow button. Please subscribe, okay? Also, if you follow on other platforms, please do the same. You guys can catch me on social media at I'm Akademiks, on Instagram, of course, at Akademiks as well. That's the media page. And, of course, where could they get you?
Donald J. Trump Jr. on basically all the platforms. Truth Social, Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, and then, obviously, the Rumble Triggered podcast.
And you probably got to go to his page to see what he's posting, because super shadow banned, all right?
Yeah. It's not going to pop into your feed, I promise you that. But if you follow me, you'll probably have a couple laughs out of it. Whether you agree with anything I say or not, it's still funny.
Exactly.